Okay.
We're live.
Ho ho.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What is going on, Canes fans? We are live.
What is going on, Maniacs? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal, man. I'm ready to get right into this. They announced the schedule. I'm ready to talk about it. Ready for the seasons to start.
Heck yeah, me
How you
too, man.
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I took a quick look at the schedule earlier, and I think it looks really good. I think
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a better season than what everybody thinks.
Okay. So I was thinking, do you want to go by? Well, actually, before we even get into the schedule, there was some news that we should probably talk about that I think all Canes fans want to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
Blake Baker going to LSU as
Yeah.
to be a linebacker coach. How do you feel about that?
Um, I'm all right with it. I mean,
Yeah, I think most people are.
yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are very, very happy about that. But yeah, it's I'm happy with it. Now, I mean, now that he's gone,
So,
the question is Manny going to hire somebody else now to be a
so that was
DC?
my question too.
Okay, yeah,
So not for DC but maybe like some other position coach, but it's going to be someone noteworthy.
gotcha.
Um, the thing I'm wondering is, so his contract is off the books now too, right? So that might be, you know,
Right,
another factor of who they hire. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, because I haven't looked into it, as much
right.
as I wanted to yet. Um, but hopefully it is. Um, but yeah, so I mean that kind of I just wanted to go over that before we got into this, but do you want to kind of go through the schedule just game by game and then we can kind of give what we think is going to be the record for the season or what?
Yeah, we can do that. And then I know we got some people going to call him. I told them to hold off till about 8:15. So we got that, and then we'll go over it with all the callers.
Okay, sounds good to me. So man, I think we all know what the week 1 game is.
Yeah.
um Week 1, we got Bama. I know me and you are going to go to this game. How do you feel about this? I know there's some like up in the air feelings about it because we don't know. Hopefully Derek King is all healthy and good by then.
hmm
But what's your opinion on this game?
I I mean, it's Bama, and I mean, it's all going to depend on King for me. I mean, I don't think we're going to win. I just hope that we can be we can be competitive.
Yeah.
If King's not in there, I don't know if that's going to be possible. I mean, how are you feeling about it?
I'm in the same boat. I hope we're competitive. If King doesn't play, then I don't know how to really judge the game then.
hmm
Um, but I think that most Canes fans are going to chalk this one up as a loss, probably.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
there may be a few out there that say we're going to win, but you know.
Yeah. And obviously too, I know we're talking about the schedule, but we'll be talking about this game a little bit more because we
Oh,
want to do some
absolutely.
fun things,
Mm-hmm.
since we're both going to be at that game. Um, but yeah, so and that's going to be in Atlanta, right, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So
Yep, at the
that's
Mercedes-Benz
pretty cool
Stadium.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
um, so yeah, so then week two taking on Appalachian State, who I believe was 9-3 last year. Um, Pretty decent football school. I mean, I mean, sometimes in the top 25, right? I mean, border top 25. How do you feel
Right.
about this game? Are you worried at
Yeah,
all?
they went 9-3 last year. Um, I mean they, I mean it. No, no, I'm not worried about it. Not at all.
Okay.
That should be a
Yeah,
W.
me neither. Week three, Michigan State. Kind of weird. They beat Michigan and Northwestern last year. Um, I think Michigan was ranked when they beat them, and then
Right, 13th, I think.
Northwestern as well. Yeah, and so those were their only two wins though. It was against ranked teams, and then they lost 5 games, and most of them were like double digit. They lost
Mm-hmm.
by double digits. They got blown out by Iowa, Ohio State, and I think Indiana as well. Um,
Right, and they also had
how do you
15
feel?
players into the transfer portal, so
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
also believe this is going to be a win.
I think so too. Um, I mean, I'm a little more worried than like Appalachian State, but I'm not, considerably
Right.
worried. Um, but yeah, I would chalk that one up as a win too, probably. Week four, we got, I think it's Central Connecticut State or something.
Central Connecticut State. Yep.
Yeah. And they didn't even play last year during the
Mm-hmm.
2020 season. I'm guessing because of COVID, obviously.
Right.
I'm chalking this one up as a win. I
Yeah.
think the last time they played though, they were like the last season they played, like the 2019 season, they were like 11-2 or something.
Correct. And they won
Um,
the Northeast Conference title in
yeah,
2019.
yeah, I'm not really too concerned though. I got this one up as a win too.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
Next up,
A very big
okay,
win.
okay. Next up, we got Virginia. This was a close game last year. I want to say, was it like we won by like 5, I think, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that was a really close one.
yeah, and
Um,
they're
Go ahead. Sorry.
um this is like the first game I think I'm kind of a little more worried. Just because I feel like it's always a close game with Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and their QB kind of ran all over us last year. I think he had like 100 rushing yards. Brennan Armstrong, or as I know him as Napoleon Dynamite, because he looks like
Napoleon
Napoleon
Dynamite.
Dynamite. He
Right.
looks like
Yeah.
his doppelganger.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah,
Oh,
so
that's great.
I'm gonna chalk this one up as a win too. Um, I don't know about you.
Yes, I believe it's going to be a win. I mean, it's going to be close because we always played it. The last 2 seasons we played them. I mean, it's been like a combined 13 points. Yeah, combined 13 points in the last two
Yeah,
games. So I mean, it's
leatherhead
always
football, bro.
right. It always comes down to the last. I just. But yeah, I think we'll pull it out because this one's at Hard Rock
Okay.
too, isn't it? Yeah, it's at
Yeah, that
Hard Rock.
one's
Yeah, so yeah,
yeah,
we
it's
should.
at Hard Rock.
Hmm.
So the weird thing about that though, it's a Thursday game. So
Oh, that's
I
right.
didn't even take that into account. So okay, it's gonna probably be it's a Thursday night game. Okay, yeah, no, I'm taking
Yep.
that as a win.
Yep.
Um, then week six, we got a bye, so I'm chalking that as a loss. It's because we do not do well out of byes. Um,
That's not true. That's not true.
Week seven, North Carolina. So it's kind of crazy
In
because we have the
Chapel Hill
Thursday
too.
game. We have that Thursday game, and then we have a bye week. So like it's going to be a long ways before we
Hmm.
play. Take the field again.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, last season lost 62-26. We're 0-2 since Mac Brown
Oh,
joined
we got a call
UNC.
coming in. Let's go ahead and take it.
Oh, okay.
Hello, fam. How's it? Who's this on the line?
Hey, it's Coach. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Coach, how's
what's
it
going
going?
on, man? How you doing?
Fantastic, gentlemen. How we doing?
Good. We're actually just rolling through the schedule right now. We kind of went over some games, so maybe
Great.
we'll talk about the ones we just went over, maybe, so we can get your picks on those, and then you want to go through the rest of them with us?
That'd be amazing. That'd be great.
Okay, so we already went through Alabama. We kind of chalked that one up as a loss. I don't know how you feel about that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Even though
Okay.
we'll have, I think, more experience. I think than Alabama will at that point, but they're
Hmm.
athletes at a different level. And at the end of the day, at the end of that game, we might hang in there for a couple of quarters, actually. But athletic ability and talent will take over at the end there, and hopefully we keep it kind of close.
Absolutely.
That's
And
what I'm
then
hoping for.
we have them coming out with wins against Michigan State, Central Connecticut, and then Virginia. How do you feel about those? Is there any game that kind of gives you,
Well,
as a red flag or?
I tell you, the first red flag I see is our first home game here against Appalachian State.
Okay.
They're returning 8 starters on offense from what I looked at, and a good friend of mine is very close with their former quarterback coach, who's now back there in Boone and is running the offense, and Frank Ponce, and he was at Louisville the last couple of years with Coach Sack. But that's going to be a tough challenge for our defense, especially coming after a game where you're going to be feeling it for a while. Those kids will get banged up a little bit that
Yeah,
first
Mhm.
weekend.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's going to be rough in my opinion. But and then the next thing you look at in Appalachian State is they returned 6 starters on defense at this stage. So you're not going against an inexperienced team, and there is good talent on that team. So I think that's going to be a tough game, and I'm hoping we'll pull it out. But that to me is the first question mark for me.
Okay. Absolutely.
Uh,
So, kind of
you
looking at the
mentioned Michigan State.
Oh yeah, Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan State. When I look at that team, that was his first year there,
Hmm.
and he beat Michigan this year, whether it was a COVID year or not.
Oh.
He still was able to beat Michigan. So Mel's got him playing. He got a good young nucleus of guys in the front 7 coming in. And he might be getting the older brother of that linebacker from California, from USC, coming in to transfer and playing in
Oh yeah,
there.
the
So
linebacker. Yeah.
I still think they lack a quarterback, guys. You watched them last year. They gave Ohio State a great game for a quarter, but eventually that quarterback had to make decisions and then couldn't. So they lack that, but they do return 5 starters on offense. So
Hmm.
I think that will be a game that will pretty much be decided in the second half, but we should win that game. And then, like you guys mentioned earlier, I'm sure you mentioned this. I mean, Central Connecticut State, FCS team.
Didn't
We're
even play
playing that
last season.
game. They didn't play. You're correct. They didn't
Yeah.
play. So I don't know, guys. Do you see that as more just like an organized practice? How do you guys see that?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what that should be. I mean, if it's not, then we got serious issues.
Yeah, that's the Van Dyke and Garcia game.
Right.
Depending on what happens with King as well, obviously.
Yeah, this might sound crazy to you guys, but I don't know if he's going to be ready to go right away.
Hmm.
And I've been a proponent. People think I'm crazy, but when I saw this kid play in the bowl game once King got hurt, I've never seen Kosi look that comfortable in an offense before. He didn't have to think as much. He was allowed to just play within the flow of the game. So I know it's in his best interest to play elsewhere. But I wouldn't be too surprised if the Eric isn't doing too well, come March, that maybe he decides to stick around after all, because
Hmm.
he's more ready to play and fits the system right away, more so than Tyler. I know everyone talked well about Tyler, but I don't see even Garcia ready to go. It would be great, in my opinion, if Kosi could stay. But if he's not going to be staying, then you're right. It's going to be either Tyler or Garcia playing quarterback. And we saw with Brad Kaya, it's when you're not ready and you're forced a kid to come on in and play, especially when their physical attributes aren't really mirroring what the main offensive scheme is, which is to run the ball in this scheme that Rhett Lashley has. So I don't know, guys. That's going to be a rough 4 games. Who knows what's going to be happening, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So kind of looking at the second half of the season, I just want to get your perspective of like which games you're kind of more so concerned with. There's obviously North Carolina, NC State, Pitt, Georgia Tech, FSU, Virginia Tech, and Duke. Which one of those games kind of catches your eye? I mean, obviously probably the North Carolina game, but which other one as well?
Well, what scares me about Virginia is that you're playing on 5 days. You're playing off basically 5 days?
Yeah, because it's a Thursday game.
5 days. That's never a good deal. You're opening up against Bronco. That returning quarterback, the lefty kid, really athletic kid. And we all noticed one thing, even though Bronco's a great defensive mind, his offense coordinator does a fantastic job of getting the most out of their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a team, that isn't going to be a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. And don't forget, when we played them last, they were missing 4 starters. And that freshman 6'7" wide receiver, I got a friend of mine who's down in Mobile right now, and he's like, hey, who is that kid? So that kid barely played this year, but he's just a phenomenal playmaker. He's just very experienced, couldn't stay healthy. But be careful with Virginia. Virginia should be a win, but again, the first conference game of the year. And, depending on physically how well we're doing after that September stretch, who knows? Some people might call this game a pick'em at this stage,
Yeah. Absolutely.
That Virginia game is going to be a toss-up. Yeah, it's going to be close, I believe. That one makes me a little nervous, to be honest.
It's got to make us all nervous, but man, it's like what makes me more nervous, to be honest, is when I look at the whole schedule. Guys, we don't know what the hell is going to happen with spring ball. There's so much growth that these youngsters on defense need to be, developing. All the reps that they lost last spring, all these young linebackers especially, they're the ones that really got to get some work in because the scheme doesn't fit them yet because they don't know the scheme as well as they need to. So that's a big concern. All this is predicated to me on how well we deal with spring opportunity. If we're able to play and if it's going to be modified, how much teaching and real competition are you going to have? So that's a big indicator on how well we'll do next year. That's my opinion because you're so young across the board. Plus, you're losing your biggest strengths on defense, which were Quincy Roche and Phillips. So if you talk about spring ball, the impact. So when you look at the schedule, on paper we can look at it, but unless we know where we're at, in terms of our development and understanding the scheme, I think when you look at most of these games, I'm sorry, man, they're mostly question marks for me, except North Carolina in conference, because I don't think I think a great quarterback is going to make that team, even with all the starters they lost on offense at the running back position, at the wide receiver position. Howell is so freaking good. That doesn't matter who's around him. He's going to make you better. And that offensive line, they're all back. So, yeah, they're going to be a very good team. Defensively, their linebacker staff is all back. The freshman corner, Grimes, I believe, the kid from Virginia Beach, Virginia, he's a stud. He's going to be a first-round pick. He's back. The other cornerback's back. So that's a really good team. So I don't see us beating them. I take that as a loss.
I think both Caniacs and I agree with that too. I chalk that one up as a loss too.
But I think it's going to be a lot closer, though. No, it's actually, from what they did to us last year, absolutely, it's fair.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to, talk bad about the guys, but you got to, just look at where you're at as a staff.
Right.
And the kids are just too young still, especially, at the second level. I mean, I'm content. We've added great players, and Tyreek Stevenson. We have a good little pass rusher coming in from Southridge from Tennessee, but you still don't have enough guys second level that are playmakers. Unless the James Williams is going to play up and play weak side linebacker, which could be the case, guys. That's where he's going to make his money.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with that. But yeah, that's a tough game. And that's our first conference road game. So you look at our first conference home game, and then two weeks to prepare for our first conference road game. And Manny has not done traditionally well with the bye week. So yeah.
Well, he did a lot better last year. But no, you're right.
Yes,
I think it's fair.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
we
got
NC State is next.
Oh man,
I think that was the game. I want to say, was that when was it 44-41 final score, and that's when De'Aaron King had that crazy game.
Well, we played them real early last year, too.
I know that the left tackle will be a first round pick. I know the tight end is going to be. If he's not a first, I don't think he'll be a number day one pick, but he'll be a day two pick for sure. The quarterback, I'm not sure if the quarterback that we faced, which was the lefty, I believe, if he transferred. But the guy before he got hurt will be back. And remember, this is the guy who has a lot of success at Northern Illinois as the head coach. And he's doing a nice job over there, and he's got a great staff around him. So I think that'll be a close game, but I see us winning that game. And then we close out the month at Pitt.
Right.
Pitt lost they lost 5 starters on defense that had basically at least 3 years of experience. So that's going to be a big hit on them. I mean, as well coached as they are, coach does a fantastic job, and they got Charlie Parker still up there, which I was hoping we'd hire. But they'll be good, and their defensive backs are good. They're all coming back, I believe, except one. So that'll be a good defensive team. And then you've got their quarterback who's here for year number 5 or 6, I think, and Kenny Pickett that we missed out on this year.
He's reaching Scott Patchin status almost.
That's funny right there.
But one thing we have to admit, guys, that every year that the guy's played, he's gotten better.
Yeah.
And that's, I hate to admit that, but it's the absolute truth. So I think that's going to be a tough game. It might resemble the game in 2019 that we won the last possession on offense. So I'm going to take that as a win for us.
Gotcha. Okay. I agree with that.
So Coach, I actually wanted to ask you, there's been a lot of discussion about Georgia Tech and Florida State, because I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of expecting them to be more on the rise. You know, they both had subpar seasons. What are your thoughts? Which one of these games are you more concerned with? And obviously, Florida State's a rivalry game, but what are your thoughts?
Well, my biggest concern is always going to be Florida State. We've beaten them four times in a row. That's all great, but the guy wasn't successful at Memphis by accident. The guy is a good head coach. He's got a year under his belt. He identified all the areas of weakness, like most good coaches do, and he addressed them via the transfer portal, and he addressed them with the signing class that he had. Does that make him an immediate threat to us? I believe that he got enough weapons on offense, and he upgraded every level, his first level, his second, and the third level of his defense. He upgraded each level of defense with the personnel he's brought in. So when I look at Florida State, I know that's going to be a tough game. Do we have more experience? Yeah. Do we have more playmakers? Yes. But that will be a tough game, and it'll be a very close game. Jeff Collins is now in year 3 at Georgia Tech. Him being the coward that he is, he went ahead and had his team get COVID on purpose, not to come down here and play. I'm just kidding, guys. No,
I was like, damn, coach is calling him out.
I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious.
He's done a great job in the 404. That's wrong. He's a good guy, by the way.
Hold it. You get this one, Coach.
And mind you, he was also the former Temple head coach. You guys remember that, right?
Yep.
So
That's
don't mean to
great.
keep throwing shade on him, but they'll be good, man. They've improved their roster. He's always been a great offensive mind. If you look at all the guys that he's hired, they're all younger guys, and they've brought in some really good players. So these are pretty much all of his players. Let's just say that. Sucks that we have to play them up there. I was really hoping to get them here. But hey, that's the way it is. That'll be pretty much a 50-50 crowd. You know, we travel very well. We always have. And I'm foreseeing that, COVID will be done and whatever, it'll be under control by then. We'll be able to have pretty much a full stadium by that point, I think.
Yeah, by
anyway.
November, I hope.
Or at least very limited.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick us winning up there in the 404. Atlanta is a second home to the Cane Nation, and I see us winning up there. It's going to be a competitive game, as they always are. Look at that quarterback. He had a good year this year. He's athletic. He just doesn't see very well when you cloud up the middle. And Sims, I believe his name is Jeff Sims, if I'm not mistaken. He's got to work on that, and that's got to be one of the big things that he grows. But you do see tendencies, and tendencies are when the middle is somewhat clogged, we don't see well, and then we start to rush perimeter throws. And that offensive line, although it's more of the liking of what Coach Collins wants, it's still not a great offensive line. Right. So I believe we should be able to win that game up there. But it should be a good game.
Should be a good game. I think Georgia Tech's going to be a lot better. But now we got 3 more left on the schedule. And, we got Florida State and Tallahassee. And then we come on after that next week to Virginia Tech at home. And then we go back up to Duke. How do you see those 3 going out?
I see us winning. Be very honest with you guys. I see us winning at Florida State. It'll be a tough game. But I see us pulling that off in the fourth quarter. Virginia Tech here. If there was ever a head coach in this conference that has gone through hell with a roster, it's definitely him. I mean, how many guys have they lost since he's been there, guys? How many starters has he lost? Am I wrong here? Or
No, you're not wrong at all.
You're right.
Absolutely right.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about Justin. I don't get it. He lost a couple staff members as well this year. It just doesn't seem like it's working. When you talk to some of the people up there in Blacksburg, if this wasn't COVID, they would have gotten rid of him this year.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty. But the guy finds a way. Has found a way to play well against us, and he found a way to come down here and upset us 2 years ago. So that'll be a tough game, but it's senior game. You all know how senior night is for us. It's a very wacko day. It takes you almost a quarter for not only just the players, but your staff. As a staff, it takes us almost like a freaking quarter to get goddamn comfortable where we're pretty much making whatever changes we need to make. And being so amped up into the day and that whole week, man, it really impacts you, especially for guys that have put in so much time with these kids for the last 3 or 4 years. It's kind of a weird day, man, just to put it to you like that. And you don't want to get emotional, but it's part of it, especially the guys that you really, the true coaches that are out there that are mentors for these kids. So that's a weird day in and of itself. But, I see us winning that game at least by 7. I think we've got way too much talent, and he's got to fill a lot of holes. So I see us winning that game by at least 7.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, and
Last game.
The last one, up in Duke.
Ugh.
Even though they had a crappy year last year,
win.
that was. I don't think anybody saw that coming from them last year. Did you?
I honestly didn't. I watched 3 of their games before we played them, and I thought it'd be a very tough game up there for us. And then we just came out and it's like our kids just came out and said, no, that's enough of that. And I think when Phillips had that sack, that was it. The game was pretty much over at that point.
Yeah.
I think that I'm hoping that we blow them out up there once again. And maybe that's Coach Cutcliffe's last game there. Maybe he's had enough and he's
Probably
ready to go in a different direction.
Duke this year did not look like a Cutcliffe team. Very undisciplined.
I mean,
it was just he did look like it on the sidelines. He did look like it.
I think he's tired because listen, the thing about this Duke program is he's found some really good young coaches, but they're not there more than a year or two. He loses them, because Duke can't pay, won't pay, and they want to be a premier spot to be able to get the next job because that's what coaching is all about. It's the next job. So I think this is year 11 for him there, right? 10 or 11. I think he's tired.
Yeah, he's been there a while.
I'd be a little bit. I think it's time. And they say he has so much fun at all these quarterback camps that he does with the Manning family and all that. And I'd be shocked to see him last another year or two. I think this is pretty much up for him. Unless the younger Manning is willing to come into Duke, and then everybody will
Oh, man.
Yeah. Boy, that'd have set everything on fire, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
Man.
So, Coach.
Next thing you know, he's bringing them in.
So, Coach, pretty much you got us going 10-2 for the season.
Well, I think there's some question marks.
Pretty much.
There's a couple question marks
but
though,
I'd say guys 10-2 best, worst. Worst 8-4.
Okay.
But I'd say best 10-2, 8-4 at the worst. It's a favorable schedule when you look at it. You're on the road, you're home, you're on the road, you're home, you're on the road, you're home from October all the way down, and that's a great format that you want when you're in conference because it makes game planning so much easier. You get in the rhythm, your kids get in the rhythm. After the first 4 weeks, you pretty much have hopefully you have good symmetry going on across the board, and you're all in sync because the process is all understood by all the young guys, so they're not in awe anymore of the process, because that's a big part of the transition is the guys that have just come in, and you're looking at how many guys that are coming in as transfers, 3? Possibly 4 if Mark Anthony Richards waits until August to come on in, and he counts towards the following year. So you're looking about 4 guys, experienced guys, and then all these young kids that would have been here for spring ball, and then another 12 that missed spring ball. So first 4 weeks, it takes a while to get in sync. And, guys, we can't underestimate this enough. You're looking at a defensive staff with all but one guy returning. Okay, because after today's news with Blake going back to Louisiana.
I was going to ask you that just before we got off.
You mean, man, is that crazy? Can you imagine that room? This is exactly what Manny wants, and I think it might rekindle his blood a little bit to get back into it. Because when you're running a defense, when you're running the offense, when you're a coordinator, it's basically you. It's all on you, and that's the point. Is I think he's almost going to have a bit of a rebirth here. And when you teach better and you're more actively involved in day-to-day scheme-wise and installation and watching those linebackers, get better, and when looking how the corners are coming around, when you're actively a part of that, not just overseeing the whole ship, you tend to go ahead and be a little bit more successful in your game day adjustments. I've always thought that. So I think this is a great opportunity for him and for our defensive program. I think it's a great chance for us to get back to what we do. There's certain things that our scheme gives away, and you got to have counters for that. And you got to mix things up, whether you're going to max in some middle zone there, whatever it is you're going to do, whatever games you're going to run. But I think they're going to have a time of transition as well. Again, that's why I go back to telling you guys and emphasizing how critical spring is.
Yeah.
If we can have a full spring, hell, man, we might go 11-1. Just to be honest.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I mean, are we going to have a middle linebacker step up? Do we have a guy that's going to step up and take ownership of running the defense? Is there going to be a young guy that we can say right away, this guy will contribute in X, Y, Z? Those question marks have to be answered. You know, and people have mentioned, well, is Tyreek really a cornerback? Hey, man, I don't care what you really are. My best athletes, my best cover guys are going to be covering the opponent's best offensive players. That's just
Which I think that's what he'll
it's
do.
It's not calculus. If he has to guard a guy in the slot, go guard a guy in the slot. If he's got to go on the outside on the boundary, go guard the boundary. You know, if we need him more to play a little free safety, whatever it is. And remember, you've got Avonte Williams here too. If you look at both of these kids and their skill sets, they're kind of interchangeable. I would say Reek is a little bit bigger, but a little bit longer, I think maybe, but they're very similar. Okay, they don't have the greatest of hips, but what they do have is great recovery speed and great, and they've got good legs. So I'm wondering here, you know, spring ball, if we have it, we should be rolling within our scheme. So when fall camp breaks out, man, it's second nature. You know, It doesn't take long for these local kids to fall back into the technique and the system that they've basically been playing since they were in the 7th grade. Okay? So, you know, hopefully it's been that way, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it, my man. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
We got you down as 10-2, worst 8-4. I agree with that. Now,
yes,
of course, we'll go back at this again. You know, just before the season starts, and we'll go over because we'll see if they have a nice spring camp, fall camp, all that good stuff, and then we'll do it again, and we'll see how it changes or if it changes.
That sounds great, gentlemen. That sounds great. Let's wish that De'Aaron King has a speedy and healthy recovery, man. And hopefully he'll be good to go because that's a great kid who deserves it, gentlemen. He deserves it.
He does. He worked hard. He does. Absolutely. All right, Coach. We really appreciate it, bud.
Be well, brothers.
You too.
Have a good night.
Be well. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, that was great. That was absolutely wonderful.
Awesome. So I know we kind of let Coach take over and give us his viewpoints on those games. I know we left off on the North Carolina game, and I know we kind of rolled through these with Coach, so we'll kind of go through them a little quicker.
Yeah.
So I think we both kind of said this. We both have UNC as a loss. NC State, how do you feel about that one?
I you know what? Good. I don't. The only other one on this schedule that concerns me is Pitt, and it's only because it's in Pittsburgh. And, you know, when we go there, the last couple of times we've gone up to Pittsburgh, it hasn't been really good for us, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the only one that I'm concerned with the rest of the schedule. But
so
I still think we'll win.
You. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have us going. I'm just gonna say it now. I have us going 9-3.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, we said already, Alabama and UNC. I think the third loss, I mean, I could see it being, I know I said Virginia is a win, but I was kind of like hesitant to it. I could see Virginia, NC State, and honestly, I could even see Florida State just because, like, I mean, I know you look at, like, do you ever look at the transfer portal, like on 247 Sports?
No, I haven't. Why?
Well,
you
can like pull it up by year. So I pulled it up for like Florida State just because, you know, I knew they had like a lot of roster attrition, and like, oh my God, man, it's like reading a novel.
Oh, really?
Like all the guys coming in, leaving, you know, because I know they got Mackenzie Milton,
right.
Jermaine Johnson, who a lot of people were hoping, you know, we would kind of make a run after. And I know there was a running back, I can't remember his name that they got that was like, I think it was a high 4-star or something from, was it from Auburn or something? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But yeah, so I mean, I feel like I just don't know with that team, like what's going to happen, you know? And it's still a rivalry game, you know? And I know we beat the shit out of them last year, but I mean, you don't know. Because I think the year before UNC beat us in Manny's first year, wasn't that the year that we beat them like by like 40 or something, right?
Who?
And we had like all those.
UNC?
Yeah, so like remember
Yes.
when like was it 3 years ago when what's his name, their linebacker, what was his name? Was it Chaz Surratt or something? It
Well, he
was
was
when
the
he was still
quarterback
playing.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the
Hmm.
quarterback, and we had like 3 touchdowns on defense or something insane like that, and we
Yeah,
just
that
like,
was when Braxton Berrios brought the U back up. Remember? Because the year before they were
yeah,
doing the down U, and then he brought the U up.
yeah,
Yeah, that was that
okay.
game. Yep, that was
So
that
yeah,
game.
so just what I'm saying is like, I mean, next season they beat us. Like obviously it was on that bullshit, where they
Hmm.
got that third and long, or was it fourth and long? I don't
Fourth and
remember.
like
Oh yeah, fourth
17
and
or
long.
something.
Yeah, fourth and 17. But
How the hell you forget that?
yeah, no, it was fourth. No, I didn't know if it was third and 17 or fourth and 17. I was like,
No,
wait,
I got
what?
you.
I was like, oh yeah, it was that type of bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyways, um, so that's kind of my thought process. I mean, I'm not too concerned with Duke or Virginia Tech, Vagina Tech, uh, Georgia Tech. Like I could see that game being close just because, they have a pretty good QB, and I think that team's on the
Yeah, they're going to
rise.
be a
But
lot better this year because
yeah, and same with Pitt, just because that's. I mean, I know we
mhm.
talked about they lost some guys on defense, but I mean we're playing at Heinz Field or whatever it's called. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that Florida State's a rival game and everything, but you know, I don't see
I'm
that
just
being
saying
it's
like,
particular. I don't see it being a 52-10, but I see it more like 40-17. I
yeah,
don't
just
see
because
it
I'm
being
just saying
close.
because like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like
Right.
with their raw, I just don't know. But I'm like just I think 9-3 would be a step up. I was like border 9-3, 10-2, but I think it's gonna be like if you had to tell me to pick one or the other, I would say 9-3.
Okay.
Uh, but I don't know how you feel.
I can see your 9-3 because I'm teetering on that because of a couple
Hmm.
games. I mean, so I can't argue that one, but I I, I I have to agree with Coach. I think we're going to go 10-2.
Okay.
I do. I think we're going to go 10-2. I don't see any, well, Duke probably be another blowout, but I don't mean like 50, 52-10 or something like that. But I don't really see. I see a 10-2. I do.
Hmm.
That's what I see on the schedule. But I mean, we'll
Okay.
all see. We'll see what happens. Like if they have a fall, if the spring and fall and all that normal stuff. I mean, might change, but right now I see a solid 10-2.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you something. Let me hit you with a hypothetical. We
Hit
talked
me up.
about like what we thought. So I think we both agree that we were going to probably lose to Alabama.
Hmm.
Coach said he was a little concerned with Appalachian State.
Well, I heard that, and if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago, we were going to go up there and play, and I remember that everybody on the TL was talking about, oh, they're going to whoop our ass, they're going to whoop our ass, and we
Hmm.
went up there and laid the woodshed to them. I, I mean, it might be a trap game, though. Could be a trap
Yeah.
game, but I
Well, so
mean,
this is just my thing. I mean, we're gonna lose to Alabama. I mean,
oh yeah,
unless something crazy happens. Um, if we lose 2 out of our first 3 games, do you think people are gonna be on the bringing the pitchforks and storming
yep, that be right
storm?
down there.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
And do you?
absolutely,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely.
So
But I don't see that happening.
okay, but I mean, you never know. This is Miami football.
True, but I mean, it's got to break sometime.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's got to break sometime. Why not this year?
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of things happening. I mean, today Blake Baker's probably gone, so that's going to bring in another quarterback.
He gone.
I mean, another linebacker coach, or
Or
and then
just
or,
some
or
other coach.
DC. I mean, is it going to be was he just going to call the plays because Blake Baker was there? Now that Blake Baker's gone, does he want to
Hmm.
bring in an actual DC or and him go
An
back to the
actual
CEO
DC.
role or well, no, you know what I mean. Not an
No,
actual
I know what
DC,
you
but
mean. It just sounded funny.
right. But I mean, I can be sometimes. But you get what I'm saying, right? You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying
no,
here?
I get what you're
Okay,
saying.
good.
I'm just
Okay.
giving you a hard time,
I
like
understand.
I always
I can
do.
take it. I can take it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what okay. This is kind of the last thing I want to talk about. I don't know, maybe we'll get another caller, but what how many wins like do you think Manny has to get this year for people? I mean, obviously people are always going to say he's not the guy, but like for you, how many wins will you be like, "Oh yeah, he's got to go." Like, you know what I mean?
If he doesn't get the 9 wins, if he goes 8-4,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because 9 wins, like I said, there's a couple games in here I can see us maybe losing the third game,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see a fourth game in here.
Okay.
I don't see a fourth one.
Yeah.
So 8-4. I mean, granted, it's a technically a winning record, but yeah, no, yeah, he's got to come with 9 minimum. And
Okay.
not a close 9 minimum. I mean, he can't be winning by 1 point, a field goal, you know what I mean, last second hurrahs and all that stuff. I mean, it's got to be pretty dominant, 9-4.
Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't. I mean, we've seen it a couple games, but then there's a couple games. I mean, we haven't. I mean, it needs to be a consistent football team from start to finish. You know, beginning of the season, like most teams, beginning of the season. Yeah, you have your you have your rough patches. You know, it's going to take time to gel, get all the game speed, all that good stuff all together, and then, you know, you need to see improvement during the year, and if it doesn't do that, like it, you know, kind of saw last year. I mean, he's got to have 9 good wins in my view. What about you? What do you say?
I think if he's at 8-4, I think a lot of fans are not going to be happy. I think there's going to be chatter, but I think he'll still get another year.
Oh, I'm sure he'll probably get
And
another one, but
I think it'll depend on like how like what the recruiting outlook is and everything, you know. But also too, like, I mean, what if De'Aaron King like can't go like for the start of the season, or like something happens, you know, like heaven forbid, you know. I'm not trying to say something will, but like, you know, you just don't know.
It's reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could happen. It's possible.
Yeah. So last question that I want to ask you. You have, I think you said 10-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you said you could also see 9-3.
Mm-hmm.
So that would mean most likely they would lose 2 games in the ACC, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you think that's good enough to make the ACC championship?
And if we stick with divisions, it's going to depend on North Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, because they lost to who last year? Florida State and another team that Georgia Tech. They were lost to either one of those two.
They were 8-4, weren't they?
Right.
Just specifically, yeah.
Right. Just those.
They were 7-3 in conference.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on those guys. So I haven't put up their schedule. So I mean, I know they play Clemson, you know, but I don't, like I said, without looking at the schedule. But like we told Coach, man, we'll look at it again when it gets closer. You know, we'll have you know, more of a view of what's going to happen during the, you know, the spring and fall and all that, and then I might be able to change my mind on that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I just can't see another 10-2 is what I'm going with.
Yeah. So I mean, I was kind of looking at the UNC schedule. It's not really. I mean, it pretty much looks similar. I'm trying to see who are they playing? Oh, Wake Forest and NC State. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think with 2 losses, we could still make it in.
It's possible, but we shouldn't have 2 losses in conference.
Yeah, in conference. Yeah. Well, man, I'm excited to talk some more Canes with you in the coming weeks. Hopefully, there's more news. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about the basketball team. I think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, the basketball team looks horrible, my friend. It does.
Yeah. So,
but hey,
I don't know.
Hey, our first live show was in the books. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I know I got a couple people that text me, said they were listening to it. So we're going to do this some more. Hopefully we're going to do all our shows like this from now on. And remember to subscribe to us on all your podcasts. And go Canes.
Go Canes.